The decisions they make influence sports in Arizona now and in the future. Every move they make is news. Doug and Wolf present Newsmakers Week 2014. Presented by National Bank of Arizona. Arizona Sports, now on 98.7 FM.
Well, point blank, I don't know how we got this lucky. We greatly appreciate it. For the next hour, we'll talk to the godfather of Phoenix, Jerry Colangelo, joining Doug and Wolf on Newsmakers Week, presented by National Bank of Arizona. We'll talk a little Grand Canyon, talk USA basketball, talk just stories and the growth of this city and everything that Jerry Colangelo means to the city. And then we'll probably throw him under the bus on something, but I don't know what that is. I always try to at some point in the hour, and I lose when I do that, as he always outsmarts me. As Mr. Colangelo, we were laughing earlier today. Dan Marley came in studio, and when you're in here, we call you Jerry, and he still says Mr. Colangelo. I don't know if it's back from the draft. I don't know if it's back from the days as a son, but he still says that. So we have never asked before. So is it okay if we call you Jerry, even though Dan's older than me?
You absolutely may, and you know, he's just one of those throwback kind of guys.
Yeah.
You know, he wants to show respect, and he knows that he could call me Jerry or anything else he wishes to, but he chooses to call me what he does.
Has he been to the house in Carmel?
No.
Has he been up there? I just want to know, Jerry.
You know what I try to do with Carmel? I try to keep everyone away from Carmel because once they're there, they want to move there.
I see.
I'm trying to keep people away.
Yes.
The Colangelo compound, as Wolf tries to fight for his own.
Boy, we really, really appreciate you coming in here,
Hey, it's
Jerry.
my pleasure. You know, I enjoy seeing you guys. It's not that often anymore, but when I'm here, it's always a good time.
Any questions that you have for Jerry Colangelo, just use the hashtag Newsmakers on your Twitter handle, and then once you do that, we'll ask him those questions. But let's start things off with something that was kind of funny. We were teasing Dan about. He was letting us know of the intensity of the USA basketball dream camp, in which these guys are, he called them professional campers who's come around. I saw the invitation or media packet. Tell us about fantasy camp with USA basketball.
Well, we started it last year for the first time. We thought it would be a good complement to our regular training camp because there's always a group of people who follow everything we do. And many of them are professional campers. They go from camp to camp, and money's not an object with them. And we put a great staff together last year, and as evidenced by what you saw in terms of the invitation, Miller from U of A, and Dan Marley from Grand Canyon, and Mark Few from Gonzaga, Calipari, Kentucky, and on and on. You know, it's a great group, so it's a draw. And this group of campers, it's not all of them, but there's a group of 15 to 20 who go from camp to camp, and they just eat it up. And you know what else is interesting? The coaches that I just mentioned, they really throw themselves into it. I remember one story, this is years ago, it was the Michael Jordan camp, and I was a speaker at the camp in Las Vegas, and Hubie Brown was one of the coaches that particular year, and he had his own group, and they're running through some drills, and he yelled at a guy, you know, an elderly guy was one of the campers. He says, "Look, I told you to give the ball to the second cutter." They ran the drill again. The guy made a mistake again. 3 times in a row he made mistakes. Yubi kept yelling at him. He says, "You are never going to be a player." This guy was 72 years old.
I bet that guy loved it.
Yeah, he loved every second of it.
Oh, my goodness.
But he was as intense in his yelling and getting down this guy's throat as he was when he was coaching in the NBA. But that's fun.
The godfather of Phoenix, Jerry Colangelo, sitting in with us here on the Doug and Wolf Show. You know, Sochi is such a disaster. I mean, there's so many different ways we can begin on this, Jerry. What do you know of what is going on? Being in the Olympic family, what do you know what's going on over in Sochi?
You know, I don't really know much of the specifics. You know, just as you are looking from the outside in, it's a little bit different when you talk about Summer Olympics. I have a fairly good handle on what is going on, but suffice it to say that when you start with the politicalness of the International Olympic Committee and how they award, countries or cities the rights, and all of the things that go into it. In my experience, being part of the Chicago group that tried to get the Olympics for 16, I think I shared with you what took place in Copenhagen. It was an eye-opener for me. I had heard so much about the IOC and how political it was, but they shoved it down our throats, we being the USA, because they were still upset about some things Uberov had done, they thought, when he hosted and ran the Olympics in Los Angeles.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was all about money.
That's 84, right?
They waited till the opportunity presented itself, and boy, did they stick it to the Chicago group, who had the best package, the best security, the best facilities, et cetera, and we finished fourth in a 4-team race, and by far we had the number one package. I was concerned about Rio because they had never held an Olympics in South America, but the concerns we had then are still concerns today. Security, infrastructure, hotels, all the same problems, and we'll find out something this summer when they host the World Cup in soccer.
And that's exactly what's going on in Sochi right now. The infrastructure, the security, and the hotels, etc.
And you're talking about the 2016 games, right? Are the
Rio.
summer ones that you were going for Chicago?
Yeah, we were.
Okay.
We were. So the thing I would say to you is the leadership of some of these places, in this case, Russia, they want to present to the world like we're big time now. We've got the best of facilities. So what you see is the beautiful pictures, and it's a facade to some degree. Because once you get behind the facade and you see some of the issues that exist, those are things that need to be taken care of. So going forward, if you had influence on the International Olympic Committee, there should be a lot more in terms of depth to awarding the games, I believe.
Talking to Jerry Colangelo. He's with the Hall of Fame. He's with USA Basketball. He's with Grand Canyon. We have a lot of things to cover over the next hour. And remember, you can use the hashtag Newsmakers and ask any question you have to Jerry Colangelo. On that note, in your connection with the Olympics and your knowledge of the Summer Games, how can we change the IOC? And I say we as if I have anything to do with it, but I mean all of us as Americans or fans of the Olympics. What needs to happen for change to actually occur?
Well, bear in mind that the IOC is made up of representation from all the countries. And so it's about delegates. And it would take a real political movement to make change. I mean, and there are a lot of people who have been sitting in their seats for decades. And that's not necessarily healthy either. So you would hope that over a period of time there would be a reformation, and that, they'll come into the 21st or 22nd century by that time, maybe.
Hey, you going to hang out?
Yeah.
Sit with us till 9 o'clock,
Absolutely.
Right? Oh, that sounds awesome.
We have a whole hour with Jerry Colangelo. Your questions, and coming up next, a little more on USA Basketball. We haven't talked Grand Canyon yet, and he was actually at the David Stern going-away party as the commissioner has retired. That's all coming up with Jerry Colangelo next with Doug and Wolf on Arizona Sports, now on 98.7 FM.
The decisions they make influence sports in Arizona now and in the future. Every move they make is news. Doug and Wolf present Newsmakers Week 2014. Presented by National Bank of Arizona. Arizona Sports, now on 98.7 FM.